Let's take a look at the regional tab on the general tab in setup. The regional tab is also broken down into currency, address formats, country, address, language and tax. So on the currency tab, the first option we have is to set the base currency. So here we can click on proceed and we can set the base currency to whatever is your base currency. Usually that's done on the first time you open the system, on the first run setup screen. Also underneath you can specify any default exchange rates. So if you do invoice or do quotes or any other transactions like purchase orders in different currencies, you can do that in this system. So if you then created an invoice and you want to print the invoice in a different currency, on the invoice screen you have the ability to change the actual currency for that invoice. It will default the exchange rate to whatever exchange rate you have in here. You can also change the exchange rate on that transaction as well, and when you print the transaction it'll print out the values in the relevant currency. There's a number of currencies already in the system, but you can add more by clicking on the plus button here. The address formats tab. Most of the address formats will be already set up, but basically this tab allows you to, for different address formats based on a country, you can specify what appears in what line of the address. So for example, if you're printing an invoice and the address is for a specific country, the format of the address that prints out you can configure here, whether it's the person's name first or the address first and the person's name at the end of the address, because different countries use different formats, but all of that is controlled within here. And you can have also a default format as well. So if a country isn't included in here, it'll use the default formats for that in this setup area. And you can also specify to always use the default address format regardless of the country. So if, for example, throughout the system you just want to use a set way of printing your address on, no matter if it's an invoice or a quote or any other place in the system like letters and faxes, you can just click this box here and then every address format will be based on the default in setup here. To edit an address format, what you do is you can click into a line and over here you'll specify what you'd like to add into that line and you click on add. So for example, the options are company, position, title, first name, initial, first name, last name, and so on. So you'd select the item in here, you click into the field over here, and then you click add to add in that merge text. You can also specify that that text is to display in uppercase when it's printed on the relevant transaction. The next tab is country address, and this is really for just information purposes only. It shows you each country that's logged in the system, the country code, continent, and what address format is assigned to that country. This is not normally edited by users. The next tab is the language tab, and you can specify a default language when you print external documents like quotes and invoices and purchase orders. But you can also change at a transaction level if you'd like to print a relevant document like an invoice in a different language. You can do that at that particular time, but this is the default here for what you'd normally print each document as. And the last regional tab is the tax tab, and that's where you specify what you call tax throughout the system. So it's usually tax, VAT or GST, or you can edit your own one here by clicking in and typing in a different tax name here. The tax name is what appears on different transactions like invoices and quotes.